Yes, we are back. We're back for AudaCity episode.
That's right. No pandemic can stop us from recording podcasts from our houses.
That's right. So hopefully you and yours are all well and fine, and this is finding you in a decent situation considering the circumstances, and we're glad to be able to talk to you again.
Absolutely.
For AudaCity. So lots happened since our last episode. Our last episode, we were not in the chamber basement, and we are still not in the chamber basement.
But we are also not in a brewery, so it's not quite as fun. Brewery,
and we're not in the same spot either. We're practicing our, social distancing and isolations and all that sort of thing, like we're supposed to. So this is great. So what are we going to talk about today, Kaylee?
Nate, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and that's going to pretty much take up the entire podcast because what else is there to talk about, quite frankly? All jokes aside, this has been an interesting and crazy time for so many people, so many businesses. So we're going to go over some of the resources that we're compiling on our website that are available to people who may need some extra support or some extra guidance during this time. We're going to talk a little bit about how we're personally weathering this self-isolation time, which should be interesting. I think we're both losing our minds a little bit. And maybe a little bit about how you can support our businesses, our locally owned restaurants, stores, places like that no longer can have customers inside their building, but they're still serving the public. So we'll talk about that a little bit too.
Right, absolutely.
All that and more coming your way.
That's right. So
first,
let's start off with a little bit about Chamber Resources, since I know that you have been working on that kind of stuff quite a bit lately. So
that's basically my entire job, is to know what's out there for businesses. So if you go to our website, okcchamber.com/COVID-19, that's COVID 19, no space, no hyphen. We have a list of a ton of resources pertaining to businesses, individuals. I'm building out some more stuff about education resources now that schools are no longer going to meet in person through the end of the school year. So basically, if you have any questions about whether or not your company is considered essential or non-essential, we're going to link out to where you can find that. We've got information about the SBA loans, something that we're in the process of launching pending approval by City Council tomorrow. So we're filming this on Monday, the 30th of March, in case you guys are curious about that. City Council will be voting on a package for some small business assistance funds. So we'll have some more information about that out there. We have webinars that we've done, town halls that we've done with people to answer your questions about, the legality around this, employment law, that sort of thing. Really just anything that we've been able to find, we're compiling on that website. And we hope that it's a good resource for people. We know this is, as everyone keeps saying, it's an unprecedented time, and we're all just kind of figuring out how to deal with it in the moment, which is scary, but we're trying to keep as many resources available to as many people as possible on that web page. So please, no matter what category you fall into, please check it out. If there's something that we're missing that you know of that's out there, please send us an email. You can email networking at okcchamber.com, info@okcchamber.com, or find me and Nate's email on our website and email us directly if that is helpful. That's been a big focus for our organization, is we just want to provide resources and make sure that the businesses of Greater Oklahoma City feel supported and connected as much as possible during this time, because we know it is very hard and challenging.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that we've been working on here over the last week or so is we've done a couple of teletown halls.
So fun.
Which has actually been fun. But honestly, if you guys have not taken a moment to listen through some of those, I think that they may be helpful for you, because the first one we did was with some local public health experts, just kind of detailing, their views on, how things were progressing here in the local area. And then the next one that we did was we had a series of speakers, starting with Congressman Tom Cole to give us kind of an update on federal legislation and what was going on there. Mayor Holt joined us to give a brief sort of local situation update. And then we also had some legal and financial experts to speak to some of those concerns from some of our local businesses and chamber members and those kind of things. So I thought those were actually really, really informative, and everybody did a great job on those. Good questions from everybody. So kudos to everybody that was involved in those. But the recordings of those are available on velocityokc.com.
That's correct.
So if you haven't
We're working
checked
on
out
a
Velocity
transcription as well. So hopefully we'll have that up in the next couple of days, and that way you can just read through it if you don't have the time to listen to a 1 hour call. I mean, they're very informative, but hopefully that'll help get more of the information out to more people. And just as a preview, we're planning to continue this content. I know that we're going to do at least 2 more town halls, and we'll have dial-in numbers for that we can post on our social sites. We'll email you if you're a chamber member. You should get an email about that. And we're planning on providing as much helpful content as possible. So a preview of that might be talking to tax experts about how the extension of this deadline, what that means for businesses, what that means for individuals, getting people's opinions on that sort of thing. I know we'll have at least 1 more call with Senator Langford coming up. We're working on getting that date and time confirmed. So just trying to get as much information out there as possible and allow people to express their concerns and ask their questions in a productive way. So keep an eye on our social media, on your email, and we'll provide more information about that as it's available.
Very cool. Very cool. So kind of transitioning to, speaking of what we're doing for work and work life, if you're like us, what you're seeing now is basically your entire employment existence.
Yeah, this is my entire life, is this computer talking to people on Zoom. So it's very, very exciting for this extrovert.
Personal and professional probably is that's the way it's been working for me, is a lot of a lot of Zooming with people, which sounds like a euphemism for something else, but
it's not.
Yeah,
so
I'm Zooming left and right, people. This is great. I got WebEx last night. Anyway.
Yep, it's not as much fun as it sounds, but it's not bad. At least it's keeping us in contact, which is nice.
Right. So, we were talking about some of the things that we were wanting to, go over in this in this edition. And so we were thinking about, some things around this sort of idea and being on conference calls and that sort of thing. So, tips and tricks and, proper conference call etiquette and that sort of thing. So,
what's interesting about all this to me, Nate, is how many, we've all had to transition. The Chamber is not necessarily a work remote kind of company. And I know a lot of companies are not like that. And so we've had to make a transition very quickly. And a lot of people are learning a lot of new technologies. So hopefully some of our takeaways from the many, many WebEx meetings I've been on in the past week and a half will help people navigate that world as well.
Right.
So what about you? What tips do you have for people who are kind of getting used to the world of video conference calls?
Well, I think basically the first rule, especially if you're going to be on a call with more than, say a handful of people, 4 or 5 people, is to, when you join, and this goes for whether it's a video call or whether it's just, over the phone, put yourself on mute. I think that's a good idea. And I have a reason for this. And my very first job out of college, when I, thought I absolutely knew everything, just had that kind of a mindset. I had to be on conference calls about, once a week, and they were these nationwide conference calls. So it would be me and probably 50 other people from all over the country, kind of getting trained and getting information on this, that, or the other. And, at the time I was always a little miffed that was forced to be on these calls. I would rather be, actually doing my job and that sort of thing. And I didn't feel like they were really good. A way to spend the company's time. So, but what would happen is, since they were with so many people, you would get on the conference calls and you would just hear all this garbage noise all over the place, from random people's phones. And so, and they wouldn't automatically put everybody on mute, which is, if you're hosting, that's something else to consider. If you're hosting the meeting and you have the ability to start out the call, basically forcing everyone to be on mute, that's not a bad idea, because basically these calls would start, and we'd, be supposed to be getting all this information, and it would just be a lot of background info. And so I kind of got sick of it. And so on my computer, I had a little deal where I could play a lot of different sound effects. And so I used to just play random sound effects over the conference call. So it'd be like, dogs barking, frogs croaking, laser sounds,
really painting a picture for everyone.
So one time I did, it was a particularly egregious, I just didn't want to be on the conference call at all. And so I had this little kind of audio play set up. So it was like, I played sounds of a bunch of dogs barking, and then car brakes screeching, and then a car crash, and then, basically a bunch of people murmuring, and then followed by the sound of sirens. And so the host was actually like, "Is everybody okay? I thought I heard something happen." Do
you need to call 911? Do you need to?
But again,
cut this call short.
Okay, so that was just me being immature. So a couple lessons here: don't be immature and be a jerk, like I was.
Well, and now screens will typically highlight who's making the noise. So you would totally get called out. They'd be like, "Nate, what are you doing over there? What is happening? Did you just
what the heck is going on?
Crash? Like, what is going on?" So technology has progressed to that. At least you would get caught if you did that today.
You would. You would. So
limiting the immaturity.
Don't do that. But start out on mute. And what are some of your tips? Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Are you dressing up for your conference calls? Like, are you getting dressed for work?
I'm approaching it kind of like you would a mullet. So like business up top and then just relaxed on the bottom. So like it's pajama pants and yoga pants all the time. But I'm not going to just wear like a ratty t-shirt because, I want to look a little professional. So
right.
I think it's a 50-50 split, honestly. I want to be comfy, but I also want to look okay.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah, I basically the same. I mean, I don't know if I haven't been wearing pajama pants, I would say, but maybe a little bit more casual than usual. But yeah, it's still a business meeting, and I still kind of feel like.
Are you wearing pants with like belt loops?
Most of the time. Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Good Lord, Nate. Why not take this advantage to be so comfortable? Like
maybe
last night, I stress bought 5 new pairs of cute loungewear because I was like, I need more loungewear in my life. I have all these things I can wear to work, but I don't have enough comfy clothes. So that's how I'm dealing with the stress of all this is I'm buying more. It's not pajamas. They're cute joggers or cute yoga pants. They're cute, but I just need more of them. That's how I'm dealing with all this. I do have a tip. So I live by myself and I have a pet at home. And she, when I'm here, is very, very needy. And sometimes she inserts herself into video conference calls. I'm surprised she hasn't made an appearance for this podcast, quite frankly. And so I have a small TV in the room where I'm working. And what I've done, she's a cat. So I am playing videos of birds to distract her. You just have to turn it down so you don't have a lot of bird noises. But that is keeping her off my case because she's incredibly needy. So that's a free tip for anyone that might be dealing with some cat drama in their life. Distract them with birds and or mice and or squirrels on a television screen. And it tends to keep her attention for a good 30 minutes. So that's how I'm getting her out of my face while I'm trying to work on my computer because she really likes to curl up right on top of the laptop. That's her preferred place to be in all of this.
Right. Naturally.
Either that or she'll steal my chair. So when I get up to go get a coffee refill, I'll come back and she's taken over, So that's how I have to keep her out of my face.
Very good. Very good.
I was going to say too, though, I mean, I know earlier your story, you said you were immature, but I still think it's a good idea to have a little bit of fun on conference calls. So I was going to tell a story from last week. We have a recurring conference call every day to talk about COVID and all of the resources that are available. It's a very serious discussion. And we were all on this call. Most people had shared their screens, and we noticed that the Chamber's Executive Vice President of Economic Development, he's acting a little weird. And he was wearing a sleeveless shirt. It was strange. We were like, what is going on? Is this casual Friday for him now? He had on a ball cap. We don't normally see him. Yeah, he was eating beef jerky and drinking a huge Coors Light. And we were like, what is going on? Well, come to find out, he had dressed up as Joe Exotic. So for those of you who have Netflix, you might have been watching a documentary called Tiger King, which is set partially in Oklahoma, highlighting the life and times of Joe Exotic and the GW Zoo in Wynnewood. So he even had the Seth Wadley cap, the same brand auto dealer cap that Joe wears throughout the entire documentary. It was an incredible prank. And definitely, Nate, I don't know if you can insert the photo, but I have a picture of him holding his pet cat. So maybe we can highlight that a little bit because it was amazing. Definitely gave us all a chuckle on Friday at 4:30, which we all needed. So I think a little bit of immaturity inserted in the right way might be a good way for all of us to get through this.
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that was a great moment. I got a kick out of it. So
I sure did too. I don't know. Have you been watching Tiger King?
I haven't. I know I'm probably the only one that has not. But
it's I don't think it's a great representation of Oklahoma's brand. So let me just go on record to say I don't find that we live in that Oklahoma. However, it's entertaining. So I think you should give it a try. And for those of you that have watched it, you notice I'm wearing leopard print, but Carol has made me rethink all of my leopard print choices in my life. I might have to burn all the clothes. I don't know. I'm working through a lot of it, but it has definitely been the escapism that I have needed in this time. So maybe it'll be that for you. I'm not sure.
That's a common theme that I've heard from speaking to people about the Joe Exotic situation. And
it is
in that documentary. Yeah.
It is crazy. So prepare yourself. Good escapism. And someone described it to me this way before I started watching. They said, Joe Exotic is not even the craziest person in this documentary. So let that set the scene and get ready for a wild ride.
Okay.
So how else have you been passing the time during all this?
Well, I have been doing my best to support our local breweries and tap rooms via
increasing my alcohol
fine products here at my house. And so that was going to be kind of one of my suggestions for folks is, this is not going to be anything that you haven't heard, I'm sure, before, but there are plenty of ways to support our local service industry folks, even in this time. And so a lot of places are doing carry out and delivery service, from some of your favorite restaurants. And then a lot of the local tap rooms, they're closed for you to be able to come in. You can't go in and hang out, sorry, but you can still go and buy a lot of to-go beer and that sort of thing. So I would just encourage everybody to do that and kind of be creative in terms of, how you're supporting a lot of our local businesses. And so I've been doing my part. So I've been, I have to say, I have been drinking more beer probably than I normally do.
Yeah, same with me and wine. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're alone, because this is something else that's come up in some of these Zoom calls with some friends. Is that there is some imbibition happening, maybe a little bit more than usual, but that's okay. So so that's what I would say. But then, on the other hand, places that are, bars that, don't have food. I mean, it's really hard to, a lot of my favorite places they're just closed. So I just, I know I have this feeling that as a citizen that it's going to be my duty to go and spend a lot more time at Skinny Slim's once they open. So
exactly.
Maybe
we've got to do our duty. We've got to support Oklahoma City's economy through this.
That's
You're absolutely right.
The Dustin and the crew just get ready, because
I'm looking forward to the day that we can all be on the patio of Skinny Slims again. Well, I'll just say that. That'll be a great time. Yeah, it has been an interesting transition to being in your house all the time. I'm a little bit of a homebody. I enjoy being here, but when it's the only place you can be, it's kind of crazy. So I'm trying to build in some routine to my day to help me get through it. One thing that a few of our coworkers have been doing is we do yoga together via WebEx every day, every work day. So that's kind of a fun way to see people and connect outside of a work project, and also have a healthy outlet, physical exercise and kind of anchor us to a schedule every day. So that's an interesting way I think we've been approaching it. So that's another conference call tip, is you can use it for things that aren't necessarily work related. You can have happy hour, you can have a workout, meetup, whatever you need to do to keep yourself sane in this time.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And yeah, that's something else that you should definitely keep in mind, I think, in terms of just a stress reliever and, just that, keep up kind of your normal exercise routine as much as you can. There are a lot of ways that you can, be creative about things. All the gyms are closed, obviously, but
I was going to say, Nate, you're kind of a gym guy. So what have you been doing to keep yourself active?
Yeah, well, I went through and thought about, well, okay, so here are some of the things that I do when I normally go to the gym, and how might those translate to things that you can do at home, So it's just, if you've ever seen Rocky 4, and if you haven't, you should. But, I always think about that, those scenes when he's like, training in that cabin. It's just a bunch of, old school sit-ups and push-ups and, all that sort of thing, So if you have that in your mind, like, you're gonna beat Drago at the end of all this.
That's right. We all need to beat Drago. That's what our motivation should be. We're gonna beat Drago.
That's right. So, but yeah, so there are some things you can do. I
Break
found
out
out
those water jugs and do.
You've got water, water jugs, like old detergent.
Nice. I didn't think about that.
Fill those with water. They've got handles, and so if you want to give yourself a little bit of extra resistance here or there, I've come to find out that if you get around a 30-liter backpack and you fill it full of vinyl albums, then that weighs about 35 pounds. So just,
go wild.
Use that as you will. Yeah, as that information. But they're, backpack full of vinyl albums. Actually, it's useful when it comes to working out. Yeah. So and creating
do some push-ups with that. You could run around. Very impressive.
And you can still go ride your bike outside. You can still go running. It's very easy to stay more than 6 feet away from people when you're out, using the trails or running on the street or the sidewalk. And so, just, you don't have to necessarily stay cooped up indoors. You just can't be hanging out with people. Right. So,
I've been thinking this would be a good time for me to take up running, because it's gets you outside. It's free, you don't have to do it at a gym. You can just go outside your door and go for it. So, but and I've been impressed with, I kind of feel like anytime you're thrown into chaos, that's when people's ingenuity and their innovation arises. So we've seen a lot of, yoga studios and bar studios and workout classes in Oklahoma City. They've started doing live streaming workouts. People are using their Instagram to share workouts, stuff like that. So there are plenty of ways to stay active, even though we can't get out and do it in the normal way that we would. So.
Right.
Yeah. And just back to our conversation about the local restaurants and stuff. Again, that website that we've been compiling all of our resources, we have a link out to the Oklahoma City Convention and Visitors Bureau. They've done an excellent job of compiling all of the restaurants that they know of that are offering pickup, delivery, that sort of thing. So definitely check that out. I think it's, like Nate said, more important now than ever to, if we have the means, to support our locally owned businesses, because this is an incredibly challenging time for them, especially businesses that are newer. So anything you can do to support that. I also want to point out too that there's a new effort going on called City Box OKC. Have you seen this, Nate?
I've heard a little bit about it, but I don't know.
So I believe it's the people who founded Capital's Ice Cream. So that's a former coworker of ours. Connor Cox used to work at the chamber. And I believe that they have developed this kind of like a way for locally owned businesses and restaurants to compile their products and their resources. And you can support all of them by buying a city box. So they have different themes. One of them that you might like, Nate, they have one that's all about brews. So it's locally roasted coffee beans. It's locally brewed beer. So you can spend a set amount and you get products from several different restaurants. Another one, breweries, of course. Another one that I liked, they did a Saturday night date box. So it was a candle from Commonplace Books, a pizza from Hall's Pizza Kitchen, and then a pint of ice cream from Capital. So just putting some things together like that. Again, it allows us to have a unique experience during all of this. It allows them to have more support from people who want to buy their products. So that's, I wanted to give them a shout out because I think their model is really interesting and some of my favorite shops and restaurants are participating. So take that and do what you will. Seems like a good Saturday date night. Pizza and ice cream. You can't go wrong with that.
Absolutely. And yeah, and so I don't know. There are a lot of different ways that you can support kind of your local places that you like. Just kind of be thinking about how you can kind of do that proactively. I think is kind of the best way to approach some of those things. So
Totally.
I know that there's a local coffee roaster that I really like, and I saw on Instagram the other day that they were going to do some free shipping just because they were cutting back on their hours and all the social distancing, and so. I ordered a couple bags of beans from them, just right to my house, and it was great. And freshly roasted that day, it was fantastic. So
That's awesome.
the other thing that was kind of neat too is that I did make a trip out to Homeland this weekend.
Yeah.
We left the house
I
very
am
briefly.
shocked that you left your house, Nate. I am proud of you.
Those of you that I have not been dealing with this situation very well, I'll just admit.
He abandoned all of us at the office and just left. He left us there. And I'm not bitter about it at all.
My anxiety was really through the roof.
That is fair. This is scary.
No judgment. Not yet experienced. So yeah, but at any rate, but I did leave the house, and so I just want to tell everybody, there's plenty of food in town. You don't need to buy the place out. There was the shelves were well stocked. I mean, most of the things that you wanted, you could find. There may have been one or two specialty items that were a little bit difficult to find, but plenty of things on the shelf. So you don't need to buy out the whole store or, anything like that.
That's right. And even with this shelter-in-place rule that was formalized by Mayor Holt a couple of days ago, you can still go grocery shopping. I think it sounds scary, but really it's what we've already been doing. It's stay at home because that's where you're safer, and then make your essential trips out. You're not going out to just go party with your friends. You're going to the doctor or the pharmacy or a grocery store to buy your whatever you need. You can go outside to exercise. It's really just a formalizing of what most of us have already been doing. And if you have to go out to work or whatever, if you have an essential job, you don't need a pass. You don't need a sign that you show a cop if they stop you. That's not what's happening. It's just a formalizing of hey, this method is how we can all be safe for ourselves individually, for our community at large. So
right.
It sounds scary. It's something that none of us have ever experienced, but it's really just a way to keep us safer at home.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
I also want to. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
What I wanted to mention was kind of cool about what they were doing at Homeland. Homeland's a chamber member, so we appreciate that. But they actually had some prepackaged meals from some of the local restaurants. So it was sort of cool. Rather than having to make a couple of trips, because I was thinking about trying to get some food to help support some of the restaurants, because I would probably normally be going out, it was like a Saturday night, I'd normally be going to a restaurant or something like that and patronizing it. So they had a lot of prepackaged meals from some different local spots right there that you could buy. And so that was a great thing. A lot of chamber members well represented in that selection. So very, very cool to see that. And I love to see how Oklahoma City companies are kind of coming together to help support each other. So yeah, you mentioned the Visit OKC's list of open restaurants. I know downtown Oklahoma City, if you're a downtowner, they've put together something similar.
Yeah, they have good resources too.
Yeah, so that's cool. I also wanted to let you guys know of a website that's kind of similar, but it's called okforok.com. I saw that had started last week, but it's just kind of another good list of resources and who's open and how you can support and that sort of thing. So okforok.com. I don't know. What else do we want to? Oh, another thing. So speaking of, a lot of what we've been seeing here kind of in the economy is just sort of how things are shifting. So people obviously aren't spending as much money at restaurants. It's really hard for people like servers and bartenders to continue to have gainful employment. But at the same time, people are buying a lot of things from Amazon and your Costco's and stores and stuff like that. So there are a lot of people hiring as sort of the locus of the economy has shifted a little bit, especially on the consumer end. And so our friends over at Okla Works. So if you're a Twitter person, that's really the best way to keep track of a lot of their job listings. But they've been doing a good job of tweeting out different places that are hiring right now. or getting ready to hire. So if you found yourself in a situation where, you've been laid off, you're in a service industry and you don't know exactly what you're going to do, a good stopgap may be some of these opportunities that Oklahoma Works is promoting via their Twitter feed. So that is just Oklahoma Works is their handle there on Twitter. And so, I would just encourage anybody who's curious about some of the opportunities out there. If you know anybody that is looking for something, check them out, and hopefully they'll be something that's kind of up your alley.
Yeah, it does seem like there are a lot of good local companies that are hiring right now that can provide people resources, because we do know this has been hard in a lot of different ways. And one of those is that the economy is, like you said, it's taking a hit in some sectors. Yeah. People who are losing their jobs, obviously that is scary in this time. So we hope that Oklahoma Works and other companies that are hiring anyone that's on that page that will be a good fit for people. So.
Yep, absolutely.
I was going to say too, one more plug. I wanted to give a shout out to the library. So we know that the library is closed. I don't know about you guys, but I can only watch so many episodes of Tiger King. I'm about TV'd out, and I've only been doing this for a week. So the physical libraries are closed, but you can still get, even if you don't have a card right now, you can apply and get a card online and use their resources to check out digital books, audiobooks. You can read magazines. They have a lot of educational programs. So if you want to learn a language, you can use Mango, to learn through their platform. So definitely, if you're finding yourself bored and you're not a library card holder, now's the time to check that out, because even though you can't check out a physical book, you could use their online digital resources to help you pass the time, personal development, etc. So.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Yeah, and Mango's great if you're a language learner. I've used it quite a bit. It's a pretty nice little app to help kind of fill in the gaps on some things and get some good basic instruction. And they have all kinds of levels that you can use. So yeah, that's pretty fun. The other thing that I like that they're doing is, since you can't go to the library, I've got, I think, 4 or 5 different materials checked out right now, and you can't return them. So they're not doing fines right now, I don't think.
That's right. Yeah. Nothing will accrue fines in this time that they are closed. So I'm like you, I have probably 10-ish books checked out right now, and I'm going to have them for the duration. So Thankfully they're kind of waiving those limits until we're back to normal, whenever that may be. So
yeah. That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so another tip I wanted to let everybody know about. So, we've made some jokes at the expense of WebEx and Zoom and these kinds of services, but honestly, come to find out, these are a pretty good way to get together with friends and kind of have that connection, even when you can't be physically together. It's still, you can still kind of have some fun. Now, I will tell you, it is possible to get hungover if you're not careful over Zoom. So
maybe that family happy hour we had on Thursday, did you have a little too much too?
Well, I'll just say I've done some experimenting in this area. I want to fully investigate the phenomenon at play, and so just throwing that out there. So
yeah, it is possible to have 4 glasses of wine during a happy hour over Zoom. So maybe I did that last week. And maybe I added random people on my PlayStation network as friends. So I don't know. Some weird things happened, guys. Weird things went down. It's fine. So yes, but yeah, Nate and I, we have a big group of mutual friends, most of which worked at the chamber at some point, and we had a great happy hour with them over Zoom. It included people that live in Michigan, where do they live? Minnesota. And so it was really awesome to see everyone's faces and connect. I mean, I think we're all, whether you live alone or you live with your family, you probably get pretty tired of that situation either way. So it's good to just have some connection with people that you don't live with, that you don't get to see very often. And it was really fun. I've done that a few times with some friends that I don't see enough of. And I'm kind of using this as an excuse or a reason to connect with people that I haven't done a very good job of connecting with. It helps occupy my mind and gives a little more purpose to this time where we're all kind of doing something a little different.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good tip. So that's a good way to make lemonade out of lemons, right?
That's right. Or like a vodka lemonade or something. We got to add alcohol in there to it.
All right. Well, I think that probably about wraps it up for what we wanted to go over. We just wanted to check in with everybody and, hope everybody's doing okay. And man, things have certainly changed since the last time that we saw you, but you know, like all of you, we're going to continue to persevere, and I'm really looking at this as a way, you know, kind of like you mentioned, I think this sort of situation has the propensity to bring out the best in people also. And so
Yeah.
I'm really seeing a lot of that around town, and, you know, people wanting to support. And so,
you know, it just reminds me, like, I think people everywhere, but especially Oklahomans, they're resilient, and, you know, we're going to make it through this. And I think as long as we just continue to do our best every day, be there for each other, then it's going to be fine. So I hope everyone that's listening or watching to this as well, that you're staying safe. We encourage you to stay at home, listen to healthcare professionals, listen to the government and wherever you live, and just make sure that we do what we can to make this situation better and to resolve it as quickly as possible.
Right. Make good choices, stay safe, keep everybody else safe.
Wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
20 seconds.
All that stuff. Yes, that's exactly right. Okay, guys. Well, we will see you next time. Not exactly sure when that will be, but
we've got nothing but time over here, so maybe we'll just start doing podcasts all the time, just talking. It'll be so much fun. But in the meantime, you're welcome to rate us, subscribe, share with your friends if you found anything useful or entertaining with this. This is another good way to pass the time during the pandemic. So please share if you feel so compelled, leave a review, and we appreciate your support always. And again, we welcome feedback too. So if you have any thoughts about what we said today, any suggestions for the resource page, give us an email at networking@okcchamber.com. All of our social media profiles are at OKC Chamber almost everywhere. So those are a great way to stay in touch during this time. We welcome it.
Yeah, we'd love to know what you would like us to talk about for future episodes.
Or if you have any good, teleconference shenanigans and you want to share, maybe we'll share the best ones. Like if you've done anything, pulled a prank on people, whatever, maybe we'll share those at the next show. So send them to us.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.
Okay, bye, guys.